I'm Detective Jack Larson, assigned to investigate a series of mysterious disappearances aboard the human colony ship, Celestia. The moment I stepped onto the ship, a chill ran down my spine, a premonition that this was no ordinary case. The Celestia, a sprawling vessel carrying thousands of souls, was a hub of activity and life. Yet, beneath the veneer of normalcy, a palpable sense of unease gripped the crew. My first encounter was with a frightened witness, a young engineer who had seen her colleague vanish right before her eyes. Her account was disjointed, filled with fear and disbelief. As I walked through the ship's corridors, the stark contrast between the bright, bustling sections and the shadowy, silent areas was unnerving. The rooms and halls of the Celestia were a patchwork of humanity's hope and the unspoken dread that now haunted its inhabitants. The witness's description led me to one of the ship's cargo bays, a vast space filled with containers and equipment. There, amidst the hum of machinery and the distant chatter of the crew, I felt the weight of isolation, a loneliness that seemed to echo the fears of those who had disappeared. Something's not right here, I muttered to myself, my instincts as a detective kicking in. The air was heavy with a story yet to be unraveled, a mystery that lurked in the shadows of this colossal vessel. The Celestia, with its secrets and silent screams, was a world unto itself, orbiting in the vastness of space. As I delved deeper into the investigation, I knew that every corridor walked, every door opened, brought me closer to a truth that was as chilling as the void that surrounded us. My investigation into the unsettling disappearances on the Celestia took an unexpected turn with the arrival of investigator Sarah Collins. Sarah, a young and determined agent from the Galactic Investigative Bureau, was assigned as my partner on the case. Her sharp intellect and keen eye for detail were immediately apparent, complementing my seasoned instincts as a detective. Together, we delved deeper into the mystery, piecing together the fragmented accounts of witnesses and sifting through the ship's logs for any anomalies. The Celestia, a microcosm of human endeavor, was now a labyrinth of secrets and fears, each corridor potentially hiding clues to the disappearances. Our investigation led us to one of the ship's cargo bays, where we discovered something that deepened the enigma. Hidden behind a stack of supply crates was a compartment that had been meticulously concealed. It was clear that someone, or something, had been using this space to stay hidden aboard the ship. The discovery of the hidden compartment suggested the presence of a stowaway. As we examined the area, we found a collection of belongings that hinted at the stowaway's identity. Among the items were scraps of fabric and tools that were distinctly Orcish in design. "This changes everything," Sarah remarked, her voice tinged with a mix of intrigue and concern. "If there's an orc aboard, it could be linked to the disappearances." Our next course of action was interrupted by a sudden noise nearby, a sound that seemed out of place in the quiet of the cargo bay. Instinctively, we followed the noise, leading to a tense chase through the dimly lit corridors of the Celestia. The ship, a symbol of human exploration and settlement, had become a backdrop for a sinister game of cat and mouse. As Sarah and I navigated the maze-like structure, the feeling of being watched, of being hunted, grew stronger. The pursuit of the unknown stowaway was not just a search for a suspect. It was a race to uncover the truth behind the chilling events that had cast a shadow over the Celestia. With each step, the line between hunter and hunted blurred, drawing us deeper into the orbiting fear that enveloped the colony ship. The chase through the dimly lit corridors of the Celestia was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. Sarah and I moved swiftly, our senses heightened, as we followed the trail of the mysterious stowaway. The sounds that had alerted us, a shuffling of feet, a faint whisper, seemed to always be just a few steps ahead, eluding our grasp. As we advanced, the realization that the stowaway might be an orc weighed heavily on our minds. Orcs, known for their strength and often misunderstood by humans, had their own complicated history with our kind. If an orc was indeed behind these disappearances, it could escalate tensions between our races to dangerous levels. Our pursuit led us through the labyrinth and lower decks of the ship, where the hum of the engines and the creaking of the hull created an eerie symphony. The shadows seemed to dance around us, playing tricks on our eyes. Every so often, we would catch a glimpse of a figure slipping through a door or around a corner, just out of reach, yet undeniably there. The chase came to a sudden halt when we found ourselves in a dead-end corridor. The stowaway had vanished, leaving us with more questions than answers. We stood there, catching our breath, the silence enveloping us like a thick blanket. "It's like chasing a ghost," Sarah whispered, her voice echoing slightly in the confined space. The frustration was evident in her eyes, a reflection of my own feelings. Despite the setback, the chase had not been in vain. In our haste, we had stumbled upon a clue, a piece of fabric torn from the stowaway's clothing, snagged on a protruding metal edge. The fabric was coarse, distinctly Orcish in its make. "This is definitely our guy," I said, holding the fabric up to the light. "Now, we just need to figure out why an orc would stow away on a human colony ship and what connection he has to the disappearances." We decided to regroup and reassess our strategy. The mystery of the Celestia was deepening, and it was clear that catching this elusive stowaway would require all our combined skills and wits. Click the like button and subscribe if you like our stories. As we made our way back to the main decks, the weight of our discovery hung in the air. The Celestia, a vessel meant to be a beacon of human achievement, was now the stage for a haunting puzzle, a puzzle that Sarah and I were determined to solve. Back at the heart of the Celestia, Sarah and I devised a plan to catch the elusive orc stowaway. The tension aboard the ship had escalated, with crew members whispering about the mysterious figure lurking in the shadows. Our discovery of the hidden compartment and the Orcish fabric had only added to the growing sense of unease. We decided to set a trap in one of the cargo bays, the location we deemed most likely for the stowaway to return to. The plan was simple yet risky. We would lay in wait, concealed among the crates, hoping to catch our suspect off guard. As night fell over the Celestia, the ship seemed to take on a different character. The once bustling corridors grew quiet, with only the distant hum of the engines and the soft murmur of the ship's systems breaking the silence. The cargo bay, vast and dimly lit, felt like an entirely different world, isolated from the rest of the ship. Sarah and I took our positions, hidden among the shadows, our eyes trained on the entrance to the bay. Hours passed, the waiting game stretching our nerves thin. The anticipation was palpable, every small sound causing us to tense up. Then, suddenly, our patience paid off. A shadowy figure slipped into the cargo bay, moving with a stealth that spoke of experience and caution. It was a tense moment as we realized our plan had worked. The stowaway was within our grasp. Without warning, the figure sensed our presence and bolted. Sarah and I sprang into action, giving chase through the labyrinth of crates and containers. The pursuit was intense, our quarry proving to be agile and cunning. In a split second, the stowaway whirled around, confronting us with a ferocity that was startling. The figure was indeed an orc, his features obscured in the dim light. He lunged at us, leading to a brief but fierce scuffle. In the chaos, I caught a glimpse of his eyes. They were filled not with malice, but with fear and desperation. Just as quickly as he had attacked, the orc stowaway retreated, disappearing into the depths of the ship. Sarah and I were left catching our breath, the adrenaline slowly ebbing away. The encounter had been brief, but it had confirmed our suspicions and raised even more questions. Why was this orc aboard the Celestia? What connection did he have to the disappearances? And most importantly, what was driving him to such lengths of desperation and fear? Determined to find answers, Sarah and I decided to press on with our investigation. The Celestia was hiding secrets in its steel embrace, and we were intent on bringing them to light. The pursuit of the truth had just become more personal, more urgent. We were no longer just detectives on a case. We were on a mission to unravel a mystery that was as much about understanding as it was about justice. Our encounter with the orc stowaway had only deepened the mystery, prompting Sarah and I to devise a new strategy. We decided to set up a more elaborate trap, this time in the engine room, a critical area the stowaway might attempt to sabotage or use to escape the Celestia. We worked swiftly to prepare, setting up surveillance equipment and positioning ourselves strategically. The tension aboard the ship was rising, with the crew becoming increasingly restless and fearful of the unknown presence among them. Our plan needed to work, not just to catch the stowaway, but to restore a sense of safety and order. As the Celestia traveled through the void of space, its vast engine room hummed with the power that propelled us forward. Sarah and I waited in silence, hidden in the shadows, our eyes fixed on the monitors displaying different angles of the room. Hours passed, the waiting game testing our patience and resolve. Then, suddenly, the lights in the engine room flickered and went out, plunging us into darkness. A moment of confusion ensued, the sudden blackout catching us off guard. It was clear that the stowaway had outsmarted us, using the darkness as a cover. In the pitch-black engine room, the only sounds were the distant hum of the ship's systems and our own measured breathing. Sarah and I were separated in the darkness, each trying to navigate through the maze of machinery and conduits by touch. The situation had turned from a planned ambush to a vulnerable predicament. Alone in the dark, I felt the weight of isolation pressing in, a stark reminder of the vast and empty space that surrounded us. Every sound seemed amplified, every shadow a potential threat. I moved cautiously, relying on my other senses to guide me. The darkness was a challenge, but it also provided a cover, masking my movements. The stowaway, equally hindered by the lack of light, had become the hunted once again. The Celestia, a beacon of human exploration, had transformed into a stage for a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. As I navigated the engine room, the realization hit me: this was more than just a pursuit of a suspect. It was a struggle for survival, a battle of wits against an unknown adversary in the depths of space. In the oppressive darkness of the engine room, every sound seemed magnified, every shadow a lurking threat. Isolated from Sarah and without visual cues, I found myself relying on instinct and training as I navigated the labyrinth in space. The hum of the engines and the occasional creak of the ship's hull were my only companions in the pitch black. My mind raced, considering every possibility. The stowaway, presumably the orc we had encountered, had shown cunning and a deep understanding of the Celestia's layout. This wasn't just a game of hide-and-seek, it was a calculated battle of survival and wits. As I moved cautiously, my hand brushed against a cold metal surface, a tool left carelessly on a console. It was a new clue, perhaps inadvertently left behind by the stowaway in his haste. Picking it up, I felt its weight and shape. It was an Orcish tool, distinct in design, confirming our suspicions about the identity of our elusive adversary. The realization that I was close to the stowaway's recent location sent a rush of adrenaline through me. I continued moving, guided by the subtle vibrations of the ship and the faint noises that punctuated the silence. Then, ahead of me, I heard a faint sound, the soft clink of metal against metal. It was coming from the direction of the ship's primary engine controls. My pulse quickened as I moved towards the sound, every step careful and deliberate. As I approached the control area, I could sense the presence of someone else in the room. The air felt charged, the atmosphere tense with anticipation. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of our cat-and-mouse chase through the darkness. I reached for my communicator to contact Sarah but stopped, realizing that any sound could give away my position. In this game of stealth, silence was my ally. The confrontation with the orc stowaway was imminent, and I needed to be ready for whatever came next. In that moment, alone in the dark, I understood the true nature of fear and the strength it takes to face it. The Celestia, a vessel of hope and progress, had become a crucible testing the limits of my courage and resolve. The tense silence in the engine room was suddenly shattered by the orc stowaway emerging from the shadows, his figure looming in the faint emergency lighting. His eyes met mine, filled with a mix of defiance and desperation. It was a standoff, with both of us aware of the high stakes. "Who are you? Why are you here?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. The orc's response was in broken human language, tinged with a deep sense of urgency. "I am fleeing persecution. Not here to harm," he uttered, his voice strained. The revelation added a layer of complexity to the situation. This wasn't a simple case of a stowaway causing trouble. It was a being in search of refuge, driven to extreme measures. The lines between right and wrong blurred as I tried to process this new information. However, before I could respond, an accident occurred. A sudden lurch of the ship caused a section of the engine room to collapse. Debris rained down around us, and I was thrown off balance. In the chaos, the orc made a move, not to attack, but to escape. That's when Sarah appeared, her timing impeccable. She rushed to my aid, pulling me away from the falling debris. Her quick thinking and bravery saved me from being crushed under the heavy metal. In the aftermath of the collapse, the tension between the orc and us shifted. He had had a chance to harm us, but chose not to. It was a moment of realization that there was more to this situation than met the eye. Click the like button and subscribe if you like our stories. As we stood there, amidst the wreckage, the orc looked at us with a mixture of caution and curiosity. It was clear that this encounter would change the course of our investigation. The Celestia, once a symbol of human colonization and progress, had become a refuge for a being seeking asylum from a world we knew little about. This case was evolving into something far greater than a simple investigation. It was a test of our humanity and our capacity for empathy in the vast expanse of space. In the aftermath of the engine room collapse, an uneasy truce formed between us and the orc stowaway. His name, he revealed in broken human speech, was Garoth. The mistrust and tension that had marked our previous interactions gave way to a cautious understanding, driven by the realization that he was not the malevolent figure we had presumed. As Sarah and I assessed the damage, Garoth stepped forward, offering his assistance. His knowledge of the ship's systems, though rudimentary compared to ours, was invaluable in the emergency situation. It became evident that his actions, while desperate, were not born out of a desire to harm, but out of a need to survive. Working together, we managed to stabilize the critical systems in the engine room. Garoth's strength and unexpected technical skills were crucial in the effort. Throughout the ordeal, a silent bond began to form among us, born out of shared adversity and mutual cooperation. The situation on board the Celestia gradually shifted from one of fear and suspicion to one of understanding and empathy. The crew, initially alarmed by the presence of an orc stowaway, began to see Garoth in a new light, influenced by our advocacy for his situation. Sarah's and my relationship also evolved during this time. The intensity of the circumstances had brought us closer, transforming our professional partnership into something deeper. We found solace and strength in each other's company, a silver lining in the midst of the chaos. As we worked alongside Garoth to repair the damage and restore normalcy to the Celestia, I couldn't help but reflect on the unpredictable nature of space, a realm where the lines between friend and foe could blur, and where the most unlikely of alliances could form. In the vastness of the cosmos, aboard a ship sailing through the stars, our story was unfolding in unexpected ways. The Celestia, a testament to human exploration, had become the setting for a tale of survival, compassion, and the budding of a profound connection under the most extraordinary circumstances. The Celestia, once a vessel echoing with uncertainty and fear, gradually began to resonate with a different tune, one of collaboration and newfound understanding. The presence of Garoth, the orc stowaway, had initially sparked a wave of suspicion and panic, but now, in the wake of our collective efforts to repair the damage, perceptions were changing. Garoth, with his unexpected technical know-how and willingness to help, had proven himself to be more than the threat we had perceived. His story, one of fleeing persecution and seeking refuge, resonated with many aboard the ship. The barriers of fear and mistrust that had once separated us were slowly crumbling. As for Sarah and me, the experiences we shared had created an unspoken bond, one that went beyond the confines of our professional roles. In the face of danger and the unknown, we had found a mutual respect and understanding. The intensity of the situation had drawn us closer, kindling a connection that was both unexpected and profound. Working side by side with Garoth, we managed to restore the essential functions of the Celestia. The ship, which had been on the brink of disaster, was now steadily humming back to life. The crew's initial apprehension towards Garoth was giving way to a cautious acceptance, his actions speaking louder than the preconceived notions that had once defined him. As we navigated through the complexities of this unique situation, it became clear that our journey was about more than just solving a mystery. It was a lesson in empathy, in understanding the stories that each of us carried. The Celestia, a microcosm of humanity's reach into the stars, had become a testament to the power of unlikely alliances and the strength found in unity. In the vast expanse of space, aboard this colony ship, our story continued to unfold, a narrative not just of investigation and discovery, but also of compassion and the forging of bonds under the most unusual and trying circumstances. With the Celestia's critical systems stabilized and the immediate danger averted, the atmosphere on the ship began to shift. The crew's initial wariness towards Garoth softened as they witnessed his sincere efforts to assist in the repairs. His presence, once a source of fear, was slowly being recontextualized as that of a victim seeking solace and safety. Amidst the repair efforts, the bond between Sarah and me continued to deepen. Our shared experiences had created a strong connection, a mutual understanding that went beyond words. In the quiet moments, away from the chaos and noise, we found comfort in each other's presence. The high-stakes environment had accelerated our relationship, transforming professional respect into a more profound emotional connection. One evening, as we took a break from our duties, Sarah and I found ourselves gazing out at the stars from the observation deck. The vastness of space, with its infinite possibilities, mirrored the depth of the feelings that had been growing between us. It was a moment of peace and reflection, a rare pause in the relentless pace of our duties. "We make quite a team, don't we?" Sarah remarked, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Her smile, candid and warm, stirred something within me, a realization that what we had was special. "Yeah, we do," I replied, my voice carrying a hint of the emotions I was beginning to acknowledge. There was a sense of rightness in that moment, a feeling that this was just the beginning of something more. As we stood side by side, looking out into the cosmos, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. The Celestia, with all its challenges and mysteries, had brought us together, forging a bond that felt as vast and deep as the universe itself. In the days that followed, as the ship slowly returned to its normal rhythm, Sarah and I continued to work closely, both in resolving the aftermath of the incident and in exploring the possibilities of our burgeoning relationship. The journey we had embarked upon had taken us to unexpected places, both professionally and personally. The Celestia, a symbol of human exploration and resilience, had now become the backdrop for a story of discovery, not just of outer space, but of the human heart. The days following the repair of the Celestia were filled with discussions and debates about Garotha's fate. This story, a tale of flight from persecution and a desperate search for asylum, had spread among the crew. Many were sympathetic, their initial fear replaced by a sense of compassion for the orc's plight. Sarah and I found ourselves at the forefront of advocating for Garotha. We argued that his actions, while drastic, were born out of necessity and fear, not malice. His cooperation and assistance during the crisis had demonstrated his genuine remorse and his willingness to make amends. Our plea for understanding and empathy towards Garotha was a reflection of the bond we had formed with him. We had seen beyond the stereotype of an orc as a fearsome creature and discovered a being with hopes, fears, and a desire for peace. The ship's captain, swayed by our arguments and the crew's changing sentiments, eventually decided to grant Garotha asylum. It was a decision that marked a significant step towards breaking down the barriers between humans and orcs, a move towards a future where understanding and cooperation could thrive. As the decision was announced, a sense of relief washed over the Celestia. Garotha, now officially a member of the ship's community, was met with cautious yet genuine acceptance. The orc's integration into the crew became a symbol of the ship's resilience and its capacity for change. The resolution of the case brought a sense of closure, not just to the mystery of the disappearances, but to the fears and prejudices that had once clouded our judgment. The Celestia, a microcosm of human expansion into space, had become a vessel of unity and newfound hope. Click the like button and subscribe if you like our stories. Sarah and I, having played a pivotal role in this journey of understanding and acceptance, found ourselves reflecting on our experiences. Our relationship, forged in the fires of adversity, had grown stronger, a testament to the power of human connection in the vastness of space. As we looked forward to our next adventure, we did so with a sense of anticipation and the knowledge that, together, we could face whatever challenges the cosmos had in store for us. In the days that followed, the Celestia resumed its journey through the stars, the tension and fear that had once gripped the ship now replaced by a sense of community and understanding. Garotha, granted asylum and a chance for a new beginning, dedicated himself to contributing to the ship's operations, his skills as an orc engineer proving invaluable. The crew's initial apprehension towards him gradually faded as they witnessed his commitment and sincerity. Garotha's story, once a tale of a mysterious and dangerous stowaway, had transformed into a narrative of resilience and the search for a better life. His presence on the ship became a living testament to the power of empathy and the potential for coexistence. As for Sarah and me, our role in resolving the situation had strengthened our bond. Working together under such intense circumstances had revealed a depth to our relationship that went beyond professional camaraderie. We had become partners in every sense of the word, our mutual respect and affection laying the foundation for a future together. Our evenings were often spent in quiet conversation, reflecting on our experiences and discussing our hopes for the future. The challenges we had faced had not only brought us closer, but had also given us a new perspective on life and our roles within it. The Celestia, once a mere vessel of human colonization, had become a symbol of growth and the capacity for change. The ship's journey, mirroring our own, was a reminder of the endless possibilities that lay in the vast expanse of space and within the human heart. In the quiet moments, as I looked out at the stars with Sarah by my side, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude. Life in space was unpredictable, filled with unknowns and dangers, but it was also a canvas for extraordinary stories of courage, love, and understanding. The adventure that had begun as a routine investigation had evolved into a life-changing experience, shaping our destinies in ways we could never have imagined. The Celestia continued its voyage, a beacon of hope and unity, carrying with it the story of a detective, an investigator, and an orc engineer who had come together under the most unlikely of circumstances. The case of the mysterious disappearances aboard the Celestia had reached its conclusion, but its impact resonated far beyond the confines of the investigation. Garotha's integration into the ship's community was a beacon of hope, symbolizing a future where understanding and compassion could bridge the gap between different races. Sarah and I, having navigated the complexities of this case together, found ourselves at the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Our relationship, born out of shared adversity and mutual respect, had blossomed into something beautiful and profound. We had started as colleagues, but we had become much more, partners in life, united by our experiences and our shared vision for the future. As we stood side by side, watching the stars streak past the viewports of the Celestia, we contemplated our journey. The challenges we had faced, the bonds we had formed, and the lessons we had learned had reshaped our understanding of the universe and our place within it. We were no longer just passengers on a spaceship. We were explorers in the grandest sense, charting a course through the uncharted territories of space in the human heart. The Celestia continued its voyage through the cosmos, a testament to human endeavor and the indomitable spirit of exploration. On board, stories of courage, love, and redemption were woven into the fabric of daily life, each tale a reminder of the endless possibilities that awaited us among the stars. As I conclude this chapter of the story, I turn to you, the reader. Write in the comments below the video, what do you think about this story? Do you think the characters did the right thing? Click the like button and subscribe if you like our stories. Our journey had taught us that in the vast expanse of space, amid the mysteries and wonders of the cosmos, the most profound discoveries were those of the heart. The Celestia, once a ship of mystery and fear, had become a vessel of love and unity, carrying us forward into a future filled with hope and endless possibilities.